this don't make no sense, Sean. I hope I bring you glory on this one, Father. Help me now.
For your life. Amen. When we look at this text, we're looking at Joseph the dreamer. Amen. That at the age of 17, God, he had an experience with God that birthed in him a dream, a vision of his future. And Joseph, what I love about Joseph is that Joseph was wise enough to realize that his dream had not yet come to pass. And so Joseph, being a man of integrity, a man of character, he did not want to allow anything to forfeit his dream, to forfeit his promise that God the Father had birthed in him from his youth. Amen. He had a dream that one day the stars would bow before him, which symbolized the day where he will be exalted. Amen. And to a high place or a high position. He had a dream that his brother's sheep would one day bow down before him. Amen. Before him. Amen. Who was the head sheep. And these things came to pass later on in the future. But he was one man that realized that he would not allow anything to forfeit this dream to come to pass. And here in this text, we're looking at one of the devil's imps. We're looking at one of the devil's vessels. We're looking at one of the devil's tools to come in and to intercept or to forfeit or to cancel out the plan of God. Now, Joseph was more than just a dreamer. Joseph was going to be the one that was going to save the Israelite nation who was perishing in the wilderness because there was a great famine in the land and they had nowhere to go. And Joseph was the tool in which God was going to use, Lord, to be a vessel for God that was going to bring his children to a place where they can grow, where they can prosper. And this is where and this was in the land of Egypt. And what I love about Joseph, that everywhere he was planted, he bloomed. It didn't matter if he was in a carnal land. It didn't matter if he was in an evil land. It didn't matter if the land that he was in, they worshiped other gods. Wherever God planted him, he bloomed. Amen. Wherever God planted him, he was a light in the midst of darkness. So when we look at this text, we're looking at three individuals in action. We're looking at Joseph the dreamer, who had an assignment from God because he had an experience with God. Then you had a tool of the devil that was being used by the devil to forfeit the plan of God. Then you have the devil himself speaking through this tool. But if you notice, God had already did what God was going to do. So God didn't have to be on the scene. All God had to do was plant the seed, which was plant the vision. You'll be amazed at how many people in this very room one day had plans and had visions, and they allowed the enemy to come in to forfeit their plan and their vision. The enemy, one of his names is called the accuser of the brethren. His job is to get you into a position, to get you into a place where you forfeit all your God-given dreams, all your God-given purposes, all your God-given assignments, and settle for less. But I come to tell you today, we have to call the devil a liar and let God be God, because God is true and the devil is the father of all lies. So when we look at this text, here was Joseph, a good-looking boy, a good-looking man, a good-looking godly man, who was equipped for a God-given purpose. And this woman whether she knew it or not, she was being used as an instrument of unrighteousness. And the sad thing about it is, sin is one thing you need and every person needs to know about sin. It's not the sin that the devil is concerned about. The devil is concerned about the enslavement of the sin. The devil realizes that sin can be tasty. Sin can feel good. Sin can entice and it can allure. And it's not just the sin, but it's the multiplication of the sin. Amen. Nowhere in the Bible it said that Joseph ever had a woman. So I would think that Joseph here in this text was a virgin. Nowhere in the Bible it says that Joseph had a woman. Nowhere it says that. But here in this text, for the first time, he has a woman. And no doubt, I believe that if she is a Potiphar's wife, she had to have it going on. She had to look good. A man with servants. And so here was it, this young boy in this man's house. God is blessing them. God is keeping them. And I want you to think about your life. How God blesses you and how God keeps you. And God keeps opening up doors and opening up windows for you. And he keeps doing things for you and blessing you. And all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, it came a joker. It came some trickster in the midst. Think back over your life, how maybe you were doing good in school, in high school, and maybe you was doing great, and all of a sudden somebody came into your life. I don't know his name, I don't know her name, I don't know what it is, but what happens is, if he would have fell into that sin, it's a possibility that that sin could have enslaved him. How many of us had dreams of doing great things? Great things. We wanted to go off to college. We wanted to start businesses. We had great plans. And all of a sudden, the devil sends in one of his imps to forfeit our dreams. And what it does, it encamps us and it enslaves us. How many of you think back over your life and how the enemy came about, and maybe you wanted to do something great in life. And all of a sudden something came and headed you off at the path. And all of a sudden you found yourself wrapped up, entangled up in this issue. And you forgot about the plan, the promise, the dream that God gave you. Oh, it's happening every day. It's happening all around us. It's happening. I'm talking to a young man. He was on his way to college, and he came up to me and he said, "Pastor, pray for my brother." I said, "What's going on?" He's 17. He's 17. Was already on his way to college. Already going to do something. And the enemy used a vessel. He used a nice young lady, amen, to get. And he said, "Well, my brother is no longer going to college." He said, "Pastor, my brother, he's no longer, he has to get a job. He has to take care of, his family now. He has to do this, and he's not going to." I said, but God is able. God can do some great exceeding things. So don't worry. It's not over till God says it's over. It's not over till God says so. He said, "Pastor, but he messed up, Pastor. He messed up." I said, yeah. See, but the thing about it,